Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm this guy with the Hyperloops. Today is April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day to you guys. No intention of doing any jokes or whatnot. So I just did like a 3-minute one and got interrupted. So I'm hoping I don't forget anything. But so for the gist, for the most part, you guys should already be well aware that I'm like completely just all in an Entourage. I think the card is fucking amazing. And like the only tutorable stuff right now are Fickle Mercenaries and Hired Muscle, as far as I know, and Hired Muscle's not even out yet. I think from a die perspective, like we're going to be seeing, Yoda decks with, built on that, as well as Snoke decks built on it. And the fact that our tutor has another one makes it so much more easier to, pretty much just jam all resources. Because if you find like that, you can just jam that down. It obviously doesn't just, straight kill like Vader's Fist does, but it is, it's much more reliable, as far as like a round by round threat, as well as like against, actual removal. So like, let's say you play against, Flames of the Past decks. If you get the Entourage down and they get the second Entourage, your opponent's not flamesing off of your shit anymore. Sure, 3-die Vandalize into a Flames, whatever, blah, 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 but that's much harder. The big thing with it is that it has a 2-resource side, and the 2-resource side essentially is like, all right, if I play it and then get the 2-resource side, it costs me 1. And no matter what side you resolve after that, it's going to have paid for itself. So, a 2-round, it's paid, it's done the equivalent work of its cost, or, more than that is A+, pretty much technology as far as like when we're looking for these quote-unquote bomb spells. If it didn't tutor, I don't even think it would be really that playable. It probably still gets some use, but the fact that it tutors means that, we can feasibly find out the opponent has no removal, jam it, get the second one, get the 2 more resources off of it, jam that one, and then go grab, a Hired Muscle or a Fickle. And now we're kind of like off to the races. We got a bunch of stuff going on, as well as, a potent engine. Because if you roll that out, let's say first, you probably don't even want the 2 indirect. Like, you want it, you'll take the disrupt to threaten or keep them off of removal or like their own ramp. Resources, you're at, you started with your 2 for the round, you're at 4, boom, Mega Blaster Troopers. The 3 indirect, and then the special that is going to scale pretty much quite ridiculously, as far as like, all right, if you have a Scoundrel in your lineup, 1 Entourage, 2 Entourage, and then into Hired or Fickle, and you're now looking at specials worth 4 damage. So like, even if we treat it as a 2 damage special, we're looking at 2 damage, 2 indirect, 3 indirect, and that is the equivalent to the Slave 1 die, but now we have a 2-resource and a 2 disrupt side instead of shield and a single resource. Power action obviously on Slave 1 is pretty amazing, but the fact that this pretty much packs its own additional stuff is realistically where its power level is at, because what we're looking to do is pretty much play a single card that costs like pretty much 5, Vader's Fist level, and get 2 to 3 dice that are very threatening. And since Entourage costs 3, let's say you just want Entourage into a Hired Muscle, you now have 2 dice around that can hit, for a feasible amount of damage, as well as threatening other stuff. Control sides are very, very good at threatening people to, either remove them or then, like, let's say spend your resources so that now I don't have to resolve my disrupt side, instead of kind of playing chicken. So, double disrupt sides, as most of you guys are aware by now, like, I love having disrupt sides available, because let's say I hit my Entourage before my opponent really gets to ramp out. If I find the disrupt, then they're not going to get to ramp out that round. Like, sure, I use my Entourage die, but like, I think you'll usually just take that, because if they ramp into it, there's probably 1 or 2 dice that got used in the process, and you've now kept them off of starting their entire engine or whatever's going on, because now you're still going to have yours next round. They're still struggling to try to get the resources to get theirs down, and you're going to be in a very good place. So yeah, Entourage to me is completely fucking amazing. If I were you guys, I would treat it exactly like Vader's Fist. Like, this thing's bonkers. How do I play it? Why would I play any deck without it? as you guys are well aware, I'm all about my rainbow life. So Entourage, Mega Blaster Troopers, and Vader's Fist are like the trifecta of here's you know, this pretty much like 5 costing. I like to call them like 4 or 5 cost. That's going to just come and fuck with you immensely. So like, you know, Mega Blaster Troopers is going to come with the 2 extra dice, so you got 3 dice. They're lower damage than the Fist. Fist has pace sides, which can be a struggle, but if you kind of compare Entourages to Fists, you know, they're going to be very similar in that regard. Like, if you think of it like this, like if you've resolved 2 of Fist's pace sides, you've gotten to like an overall cost of 7. 2 Entourages and, you know, a Fickle essentially equate to that, or like you can kind of say a hired muscle at that point. And you know, you can't obviously resolve the hired muscle, but if you find the 2 resource or something like that, then you can now do a whole bunch of shit. So definitely keep that in mind. So what I kind of want to talk about right now is actually a new trilogy deck. So was talking a bit earlier in the Discord about, you know, Watto plus Watt Tambor, and now the theory here is that if I need to look through the set still, but I think you could probably just cut blue out in its entirety in new trilogy, because new trilogy doesn't have hidden motive, doesn't have a lot of the options you'd want. So if you go like Elite Watt Tambor, Elite Watto, and like a Clawdite Shapeshifter, the Clawdite can, you know, turn into Scoundrel if you got the special showing for extra damage, can turn into a droid if you have like automated defense and you want to be able to remove a die, can turn into a leader if you have Mega Blaster Troopers and you want to roll out for the extra the extra FOSS die. What did I just say? Leader, Scoundrel. I'm trying to think if there's a reason to be a trooper. There's probably some reason to be a trooper, but who knows, whatever. But it gives you a lot of flexibility there, and automated defense is going to be a strong card there. You know, we obviously would get access to flank, but it's a 5 dice start, 24 health if I'm not mistaken, because Watto and Tambor have 9 each, as well as Clawdite only having 6. So the thing there is that now, because we have Watt and Watto, you should be ramping immensely. So it's not Snoke levels of you know, this one single die is going to be super scary, but you do have 3 resource sides on Watto, and you know, they can't really mess with those dice. And then Watt Tambor has double resource side, as well as the focuses for late game. And now, you know, you play an Entourage, and Watt's going to put an extra copy of that out, and you know, that's very, very threatening. Especially if you can, like, let's say, focus to like the resource side and whatnot. So you'll have, you know, access to Entourage, Fickle Mercenaries, Hired Muscle, Mega Blaster Troopers, and like realistically, that's almost enough for the deck. I need to go see what else is available there, but you should have access to a solid amount of things. Flanks in the set, so we have flank, we have automated defense, we have Sinister Presence. So like in theory there, even though the actual die size on the characters are realistically lacking a lot of damage there, that whole ramp potential in the whole engine is going to be quite ludicrous. I do have to, there should be some other stuff we can run damage wise, but just that theory in new trilogy seems pretty amazing, and I would definitely like consider taking a peek into it. I think it was Lanza that was talking about, I think he had Elite Watto, 1 die Watt, and then the Sentinel Messenger, so he can get blue with like Forsaken, Isolation, and whatnot. But in my mind, I think I could probably just cut blue out entirely, unless I needed some actual damage dice from them. There should be some other stuff in the set that we can use for damage. But new trilogy wise, I could see that being very strong, especially for any of you guys going into any of the GQs coming up. So I'll make a deck list for it a little later today. Rest of the testing is really going to be on you guys, because for the most part I'll be trying to focus a bit on standard, and I don't expect to be able to really find games for new trilogy. But once the update goes out on Super Destiny, you know, who knows, if someone puts up a Trilogy game and I see it, I'll try to jam the deck out, get you guys some videos, you know, theories and whatnot on the stuff. But just in general, like, there's a lot of viable cards there for us to use, and it should operate very swimmingly. So that's that. I implore any of you guys that usually follow whatever deck I'm playing to get 2 Entourages. I picked up a 4th one, or 3rd and 4th one, because I'm pretty sure both my hero and villain decks are going to be running Entourages, and realistically I'd like to have both decks built at the same exact time. So I'm going to also have to fucking pick up 2 more hired muscles, which kind of sucks. Right now I'm looking at Enfys, Yoda Bitter Rivalry. And the rationale here is that Enfys actually hits really, really hard. The dilemma is going to be like trying to protect her. But you could be seeing like some silly shit, right? So like, let's say you find a single, so either double Yoda special, or, you know, single Yoda special and the 2 resources for a resource across on Enfys. You could be seeing a point where you like special resource, the other Enfys to 2 for 1. Alright, Enfys power action to resolve both of them to get 4 more resources, and have like an 8 resource round 1. And that means we would be going Entourage, hired muscle, and resolve it. Which, as you know, is ridiculous levels of holy shit. The other thing there is, because we get 2 villain cards to bring in, we are going to have 2 Vader's Fists. Yeah, so, you know, there could be a round where you're like, let's say you get that, you go to 8, right? Actually, this is a little harder, but I would be running 4 price to fix Enfys to either 3s or the 2 for 1s. To match things up, as well as impulsives. This is now standard. To do like Yoda tricks off of like specials and focus, so that I could, you know, do surprise damage out of nowhere if any of those ever show up. And I could potentially also see myself running the one where we can activate a support or character, because I think if you get, you know, action cheat Enfys in, you could be getting kills at the beginning of rounds that people could just kind of don't expect. Because, like, you could go either way with the deck. Like, you could ramp short, like, with his Yoda specials, and then flip her to 3s, and just, like, shove damage in, play, like, an Entourage, grab, like, a Fickle or something, or just grab another Entourage and just roll in and do stuff. There's a lot of different options there. So figuring out which way is the best way to go is definitely going to be one of those things. But there is going to be a lot of... There's a lot of potential there. I do need to see what other damage stuff is available to them. But, you know, let's say people are going to attack Enfys there. Then you could be looking at, you know, jamming like a Force Wave on Yoda or something like that. But I'll build a deck. I'll throw it out later today. I just think there's a lot of potential there. So I'm going to hold my Enfys, or Enfys, instead of selling them, just because they're only at like 20, 22. If I sell them, like, sure, I probably make like $5 back. But then if I find out that this deck's very good, I have to get them back. And like that small profit margin for me is just not worth it. But 100% make sure you have Entourages. If you don't, you're a little crazy. I've noticed a million of you guys are going in for Padmes. I think that was the exit I was supposed to take. But yeah, I've noticed a lot of you guys are going in for Padmes. Don't go too hard. I think she's quite good, but I think she's going to be, or I think the deck's going to be a little bit burstable, because it's real small, and I think the 3-wide's going to potentially struggle, but I could be way wrong. Like, Padme ship is bonkers. With Padme, there's a lot of indirect that can come out. They're just, like, susceptible to stuff. But, alright, thanks for watching, and talk to you guys later. Deuces.